Imagine casting the lead in a major musical. You don't hand the role to the first person who walks through the door. You hold auditions, callbacks, and screen tests to find the exact right fit. A business does the same thing when hiring. We call this selection, the process of choosing the most appropriate candidate from the pool of people who have applied. The first hurdle is usually the paperwork. Many candidates submit a curriculum vitae, or CV. Because the applicant designs this document themselves, they can highlight their unique skills and format their work history to show off their best attributes. However, that freedom makes direct comparison difficult for the employer. That brings us to the application form. This document is designed by the employer, which forces all candidates to answer the exact same questions in the exact same format. This leads to an important distinction for your exams. Businesses often prefer application forms over CVs because standardized data allows the hiring manager to quickly compare every applicant against the requirements of the person's specification. These initial paper filters rarely get anyone hired on the spot. Their job is to take a massive applicant pool and objectively narrow it down to a manageable shortlist of people to invite to the next stage. Once you have a shortlist, you move to the interview. This is the most common selection method in the UK because it lets the employer observe personality directly and see how they perform under pressure. Interviews take 3 forms: the intimate one-to-one, the multi-person panel, and remote options like video. Each format carries risks. A one-to-one is inexpensive but relies on single-person judgment. A panel mitigates this by requiring several people to reach a consensus. Despite being the standard, interviews have a notable limitation. A candidate who is excellent at answering questions in a room may not actually have the skills to handle the day-to-day job requirements. To gain more detailed information than an interview can provide, organizations turn to candidate testing. This provides empirical data on what a person can actually do. In exams, distinguish these tests. Attainment measures learned skills, like typing. Aptitude measures natural ability to solve new problems. Mental evaluations also play a role. Psychometric tests map personality for culture fit, while IQ tests measure processing speed. Let's test this. Pause the video and answer. For a high-pressure air traffic controller, which tests are most appropriate? You'd need a psychometric test to assess handling stress, combined with an aptitude or IQ test for spatial awareness. Testing gives employers hard numbers to back up their hiring decisions. The trade-off is the financial cost of administration and the risk that a good candidate might underperform due to test day anxiety. The grand finale is the assessment center. Do not confuse this with a recruitment agency, which you pay to find candidates. An assessment center is a multi-day event where candidates complete team-building exercises, presentations, and role plays. The advantage is deep information. Observing candidates continuously reveals true character. Using multiple assessors reduces individual bias. However, this method is highly expensive. Booking venues and pulling staff away requires major financial investment and massive time drain. Because of this, assessment centers are usually reserved for high-stakes roles. In these positions, the risk of hiring the wrong person is so high that it justifies the steep cost of the process. Before a final offer is made, organizations perform one last check: references. These are statements from previous managers or teachers used to confirm that the candidate is who they say they are. Many employers also use a probationary period. This acts as a trial run, where the candidate must demonstrate an acceptable level of performance before they are offered a permanent contract. Throughout this entire funnel, both the employer and the employee must uphold 4 key principles: honesty, objectivity, fairness, and confidentiality. Succeeding in your exams requires moving beyond just naming these methods. You must be able to justify a selection choice by weighing a method's depth of information against its practical costs and limitations. Ultimately, effective selection is a balancing act. An organization must weigh the financial cost of the process against the critical need to choose the most appropriate candidate.